What's going on, guys? I appreciate you coming back. If you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and sticking around. Hang out with us for a little while, man. See if you like it. I want to know more about this SBS selection and training. So I come across this video. It's titled How to Join the SBS Special Boat Service Selection and Training. So let's check this video. Shout out to the Patreon family. I appreciate you guys, man. We're growing.
I told you those savages couldn't be trusted.
The Special Boat Service, known as simply the SBS, are Britain's elite amphibious special forces. Formed in 1940 as the Army Special Boat Section, with their name changing to the SBS in 1987, they have led the way in special reconnaissance, offensive action and counter-terrorism. Whilst the SBS is primarily made up from Royal Marines, anyone serving in the armed forces is able to apply, assuming they have at least 2 years military experience and are under the age of 35, as well as have at least 39 months of service remaining. The first stage of joining the SBS is to attend the Special Forces Briefing Course. These take place 5 times a year and last 5 days. This course covers presentations on the organisation, role and training of the SBS, advice on preparation and training.
Damn, they actually blacked the faces out. Are they that freaking anonymous? Damn.
Role and training of the SBS, advice on preparation and training for the UKSF selection, assessment of individual levels of robust fitness and navigational ability, conduct of UKSF swim assessment and SBS dive acquaintance, Army Basic Combat Fitness Test, the Battle Swimming Test and a 600 metre freestyle swim in 15 minutes and 25 metre swim underwater, introduction to the Klepper canoe, progressive paddles up to a course performance standard.
That's what that Ollie guy was talking about in the last video I just checked out. He said something about a 5K, I think he said it was a 5K march, carrying, one guy carrying the skin of the boat and the other guy carrying the guts, I think he called it, like the wood and stuff, having to march for 5 kilometers. It's crazy.
Of a 23-mile canoe in 8 hours open sea, and a 6.4 portage run carrying 55 kilograms, and finally 6 progressive air oxygen dives culminating in a CPS dive, and progressive 25 metre swim underwater. Introduction to the Klepper canoe, progressive paddles up to a course performance standard of a 23-mile canoe in 8 hours open sea, and a 6.4 portage run carrying 55 kilograms, and finally 6 progressive air oxygen dives culminating in a CPS dive. Upon completion of this stage, candidates move on to the next stage of selection. We covered this next stage in detail on our video on how to join the SAS, which is on screen now. However, in summary, this is split into 4 different stages. The first stage is the aptitude phase, which lasts 4 weeks and focuses on the fitness of the candidates and is known as the hills phase due to the large emphasis on marching up difficult and challenging terrain, with the final assessment of this phase being 5 timed marches on consecutive days of between 23 kilometers and 28 kilometers, whilst carrying 27 kilograms, with the final march of 64 kilometers needing to be completed within 20 hours. Furthermore, in this stage, the candidates must pass the Special Forces swimming test that consists of high water entry at 10 metres, water entry at 3 metres wearing webbing and carrying rifle, followed by a 25 metre swim and kit handout, treading water for 5 minutes followed immediately by a swim of 200 metres wearing combat clothing. This test finishes with an underwater swim of 10 metres, including a retrieval of a small weight. The next stage of selection is 9 weeks long and focuses on Special Forces tactics, techniques and procedures, and standard operating procedures. The majority—
Good God, how long is this entire freaking training? My God. I don't even know how they could do what he just said.
The majority of this stage takes place in the jungle and focuses on navigation, jungle survival, boat handling, patrol techniques and combat drills, medicine and observation post techniques, as well as 3 weeks in the UK focusing on weapons training and tactics. The next stage is employment training, which lasts for 14 weeks and covers the skills needed by the Special Forces operators such as combat survival, Special Forces parachute training, counter-terrorism, signalling and surveillance and reconnaissance training. At some point during this stage, personnel undertake survive, evade, resist, extract training. The test stage for this training phase requires the candidates to undergo an evasion exercise, dressed in greatcoats to restrict movement, and operating in small groups. A hunter force from the Special Forces support group aims to capture the recruits. All personnel are required to undergo a resistance to interrogation stage for 36 hours, even if they manage to evade the hunter force. Candidates are placed in physically and mentally uncomfortable positions and must stick to their lines and not give away any sensitive information. Upon completion of this stage, this is where the SAS and SBS recruits separate from one another. Following on from this, the SBS recruits move on to training in order to achieve the swimmer canoeist qualification. Very little is known about this qualification, although it includes training in advanced diving techniques, parachute practice, demolition methods, the infiltration of ships at harbour and out at sea, as well as oil platforms, a heavy emphasis on canoeing skills, the main mode of transport for an SBS operator. Survival training in Scotland, beach reconnaissance such as photography and maritime counter-terrorism activities. Whilst the SAS continues to be more public with information about themselves, the SBS remain to be secretive in nature in regards to both their selection and their missions. Thanks for watching this video.
Dude, that is freaking ridiculous. I know it said, I've probably heard a lot of that before, just in a different description, but wow, that, I can't even remember how many weeks the training is total. Or, so I don't, good God, man, that is mind-boggling that there are people out there that can do that. That is crazy. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Please hit the like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. Thanks for everybody who watches. Sorry about my voice, getting over a sickness. Thanks for supporting the channel, and Patreon family, appreciate you. I'm out.